Hello students, so we were studying chapter 8, that is vital villages and thriving towns. So let's continue that chapter. So now we have the earliest Tamil compositions. So like the earliest Tamil composition, they all were known as Sangam literature. So they were known as Sangam literature because they all were composed and compiled in the assemblies, and in Hindi those assemblies are called Sangam. So these all started around 2300 years ago. So the poets of the Madurai city, they have composed these various different Tamil compositions, and the Tamil terms which are mentioned, let me show you. I have told you in the previous chapter those three kinds of men which used to live, who were used to live in the southern part of the India. So the Vellalar, the Kadaisiyar, and Adimai, and the Uzavar. So these three texts are the composition of Tamil, and these are the part of Sangam literature. So next is finding out about cities. So what can we find in a city, like the stories of the city, the travelers which came to that city, the sculpture of the city, and the archaeology which archaeologists have found. So first of all, we have a great story here. So Jatakas, in the previous time, Jataka was a short story, and Buddhist monks used to preserve those stories by writing them in a book and all. So here is the story. So there was a clever poor man once upon a time, and he was having a dead rat. Like the only resource he was having was a dead rat. So he was very talented. So he started selling it off to a hotel, and in that hotel there was a cat of the hotel owner. So he sold that dead rat to that owner for their cat, and he took only one coin from him for that dead rat. Then one day there was a storm, like there was a heavy storm, and the king of that place, that his garden was littered with the branches and leaves. Like whenever the storm comes, leaves and branches, they all fall. So his garden was very dirty, and the gardener was looking, like the gardener of that garden, he was looking for somebody, like who can clear the garden. So he was looking, and the clever man saw that he can help that gardener, and he was very talented. So he offered the gardener to clean that garden, and the gardener agreed. He said, if you can let me clean the garden, I'll keep the wood and leaves which are falling apart, so I can keep that. So gardener agreed. He said, yes, you can clean the whole garden, I can, and you can keep those leaves and wood. So the young man agreed. He rounded up all the children who were playing, like in the garden. He rounded up all the children, and he offered sweets to them. He said, I'll give you sweets, and you have to pick up every leaf and every wood which are being scattered in the garden. So you have to pick that, and in return, I'll give you some sweets. So all the children, they piled up the whole garden, and the garden was neatly cleaned, and he collected the, like he kept the wood and leaves. Then in no time, like he saw the king's potter. After that, he saw the potter, and the king's potter was looking for the fuel, like he have to uh, like he have to build the pot. So he was looking for the fuel. So the young man who has kept the wood and leaves, he offered those wood and leaves to the king's potter, and he said, like you can keep those uh, fuel, like these all wood and leaves, you can use those, you can use that for fuels. So after some time, he paid like the king's potter, he paid the young man a very good amount. And now the young man, he was thinking of another plan. He was like, "Ki, what can I do next?" So he carried a jar full of water to the city gate, like the king's city gate. He carried a full jar of water, and he offered those that water to the 500 grass cutters, like the people who were cutting the grass in the king's field. He offered that water to grass cutter, and those grass cutters were very pleased. And he said, "Whatever you want, you can tell us. We'll help you in your need." So the young man said, "Whenever I need it, I'll let you know." So after some time, a trader, like the trader was a friend of young man, so he asked him, he said that somebody, like some horse dealer, is coming tomorrow and you can meet him if you want. So young man thought of another plan. He was like, if the 500 horses are coming, so he said, like he went to those grass cutters and he took a promise from those grass cutters. He said, like, tomorrow a horse dealer is coming and you won't sell your grass till then mine grass is sold. So he took 500 grass bundle from those 500 grass cutters, and he said, till my grass is sold, you won't sell your grass. So the grass cutter agreed. They said, okay, we won't sell our grass, you can sell yours. So then the young man, the horse dealer, he roamed around the whole city for searching for the grass, but he couldn't find the grass. Then at last, he came to that young man and he purchased all his 500 grass bundle with the thousand of coins. So the kingman became very rich, and the story ends that. And that's how you can see how clever the poor young man was. He used his every resource in a very, like, how can I say, in a very talented manner or in a very good manner. So you have to be clear. So the moral of this story is, like in the previous time, which are we studying about, like around 2500 years ago or about 3000 years ago, there were very smart people who used to live and who used to lead their lives in a very smart manner. So now, coming to the sculptures, so there were different sculptures in the previous time, like in the uh, palaces of kings and queens. So we have very, like, lots of evidences to find out the life of these early peoples. So the sculptures which are carved, like those sculptures used to depict the scene, like the scenery, or a drama, like a scene of a family or scene of a dance, scene of a music composition. So these sculptures used to depict those, and like these were all drawn in the railings, in the pillars, in the gateways of the town. And like these were used to decorate the railings, pillars, and gateways. And around 2500 years ago, like the capitals of Mahajanpadas, I have told you in the second last previous chapter, we have studied about Mahajanpadas. So they used to have the capital city. So around 2500 years ago, those Janpadas was having capital city. And these cities were very important to the kings, and they have massive fortification walls in the towns. Like the kings used to build a very large and tall wall around his town to protect his citizens from like from their enemies and animals. So in many cities, like the archaeologists, they have found different types of pots, like rows of pots and ceramic rings, like which are made up of cement. So these were found and these were arranged on the top of one another. So the ring wells, and So ringwell is defined as rows of pots or ceramic rings, and they are kept on one another. So these are called ringwells, and mostly these ringwells were used for the toilet purpose and for drainage and garbage dumps. In the individual house, every people used to have these ringwells. So I'll show you ringwell now. So I'm showing you the ring well. So you can see this is how those ring wells were arranged and built, and these were found in every individual house. And next, this is a sculpture from Sanchi. You can see how well it is carved and how well it is depicting the scene. So next we have the story of Baruch. So in English, the Baruch is known as Barigaza, and in Greek, it is named as Baruch. No. The Greek name of Baruch is Barigaza, okay? So the story of Barigaza. So first you can see in the map of India where Baruch is located. I have pointed it out with the red arrow. It is in the western part. Maybe it's in Maharashtra. So you can see. So the Baruch, so a Greek sailor like the traveler who had came to India and who he was a sailor. He used to import and export the thing in the ships. So he had described the Baruch, and he have uh, given an account, a detailed account of Baruch. So what he has said, let's discuss. So he said the gulf is very narrow at Baruch, and it is very hard to navigate for those who were coming from the sea. Like the gulf at Baruch, it is very narrow and it is very hard to navigate for the people. And the ships which used to came in Baruch, they used to be steered by the very skillful and experienced local fishermen. Like not everybody can steer those ships. Some skillful and experienced people were required, and those people were employed by the king of that place. And the imports which were into Barigaza were wine, copper, tin, lead, coral, topaz, cloth, gold, and silver coins. So these expensive metals and wine, these products had to be imported, and the exports from the town, like export from the town of Barigaza, were the like the plants from the Himalayas which were used for the medicinal purpose, and the ivory, the agate, the carnelian, the cotton, silk, and perfume. So these all things which are those which are being exported from the Barigaza. And some of the special gifts which were brought by the merchants, and they used to give those gifts to the king. So these gifts includes like the vessels of silver and the singing boys, which they used to take from the different places, and the beautiful women for the kings. Like in the previous time, this was a rule. So king used to have some beautiful women, and fine wines and fine clothes. So that is all about the story of Barigaza. And next we have punch marked coins. So first of all, the coins which were used in the previous era was they were rectangular in shape, some were square in shape, and some were rounded in shape. So mostly generally these three kinds of shape used to found in the coins, and those coins were flattened like the metal globules. The coins were made from the metal, and they have to be flattened, and in those coins there were stamp of dies and punches. Like the king of different places, they have their different stamps, so they used to stamp those coins. You can see now these are the coins, and these are the coins of the centuries like before common era. These coins were used, and archaeologists have found several thousands of coins belonging to this period, like the period we are studying around 2500 years ago. Archaeologists have found many coins, and the earliest coins which were used was about 500 years ago, and they were known as punch marked coins. So these coins were used around 500 years ago and known as punch marked coins. So that is all for this part. In the next part, we'll finish this chapter. So thank you so much.